There was once a manager of a store, and this manager of the store, she was pretty good at her job. So she had these employees, and these employees every single day would complain about the little beeping alarm in the back. Beep, 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 beep. It was kind of annoying, but there was nothing that could be done to fix it. It was part of government property. So every day they would come in, and they would say, the alarm's still going, or that's still happening, or man, it sure would be great if that alarm stopped, or what'd you say? I can't hear you over the alarm. They would enjoy complaining about it. It just became normal to complain about it. So this manager had an idea. So she showed up one day at work and had a really funny joke. I'm just going to come up with a joke on the spot that I heard recently. What is ET short for? He has little legs. And then everyone, of course, laughed. It was funny. Probably a funnier joke than the one I just said, but whatever her joke was, it was funny. And then she looked at everyone again and said, "Hey guys, I got a joke." They're like, what is it? That was a good one you had. What is ET short for? He has little legs. Yeah. Some polite chuckles, kind of funny. Hey guys, I got a joke for you. All right, what is it? So the employees, what is ET short for? He has little legs, the employees kind of said. It just wasn't funny anymore. And then she looked at them and said, "Guys, saying a joke over and over again lessens its impact, and it just kind of makes it dumb and useless. What do you think complaining every day is doing?" And well, they got the hint and they stopped complaining. And end of story. I can't remember exactly how it ends, but the joke didn't get better the more it was told. Complaining doesn't make anything better the more you complain. But the problem is, it's just so stinking easy to complain. It's just so easy to be a complainer. And there's a couple of reasons why I think it might be. I'm curious if you agree. Be thinking of some others, and I'd love to hear them in the comments. Number one, it's in our nature. Humans have done it for many years. We have a sin nature, and so it's just naturally easy to point out negative things. We complain all the time. You can look at history. For example, the Israelites, they just complained a lot. We have a record of them complaining against God and complaining when things are good and complaining when things are bad and complaining and complaining and complaining. And we look at them and go, man, they were just such complainers. And we complain just as much. It's in our nature. Humans have been complaining for thousands of years. It's not a new thing. It's a natural human nature thing to complain. Number two, we complain because if we complain, it means we aren't responsible. We're trying to get someone else to do something. We're trying to get someone to see how terrible it is. Complaining means we aren't acting. And so when we complain, we're kind of saying, even if we don't say it out loud, we're saying, I'm not responsible for this particular thing, which may be true. But according to the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, if you're responsible and you can change it, then by not changing it and by complaining or by not having a good attitude, you are irresponsible. And so people don't want to face the fact that they are irresponsible and that they could have a better attitude. And so they complain to try and prove that they aren't responsible. And so they make things worse and things never get better. Number 3, it's just easier. Similar to it being part of our human nature and just it's easier to sin. If there were to be a baby that were crawling around, you would not have to teach it how to steal something, how to be mean, how to cry to get its way, how to be selfish. It just comes naturally. Whereas you do have to teach it how to share and how to obey and how to be nice and how to not scream and yell and complain, how to be selfless. Now, some things naturally they might come in just because a kid is really nice or something, or they see an example of their parent. But you do have to teach them to be good. You also don't have to teach a kid how to complain. You don't have to teach people how to complain. It's just a natural bent. If you don't correct it, if you don't have something better to aim for, it's just going to complain. The natural bent of a fallen human nature is to complain. Fixing it takes work. It is genuinely hard to fix it. And so you might just try, okay, I'm not going to complain today. But it's going to be tough. And it's not going to change in one day. It's got to be a lifelong journey towards something else that's not complaining. Creating is just harder than critiquing. It's so much easier to sit there and critique a bunch of movies and tell them what's wrong and say what you like and don't like than it is to go make a movie. It is so hard to make a movie. It is so hard to write a book. It is so hard to create anything of value. It is so hard to try and have a great, genuine, uplifting relationship with somebody. It's hard. It takes work. And it's so much easier to just critique and complain instead of actually trying to fix it. And having an opinion means you don't have to do it. If you have an opinion about it, well, it just means you aren't doing anything about it. And so it's an easy way to act like you care about something and are engaged in real life and engaged in what's happening by not having to do anything about it. You just have an opinion. It's easy. Number 4, it's everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's complaining going on. It's just our culture. It's what we see as normal. It's happening for better or for worse. There is complaining online. There's complaining in real life. There's complaining at work. There's complaining at home. There's complaining at church. There's complaining at clubs. There's complaining everywhere. Complaining is just everywhere. It's normal. And so it's just easy. You are the people you hang around. And the world internet is typically complaining. And most people on the internet are being influenced by the internet, even if they don't think they are. I know you think you're separate and special. I think I'm separate and special, but I am influenced by the internet. And when there's a lot of people complaining and then naturally you're going to complain a little bit more too. It's just easier. And also, like, let's be honest, complaining is kind of funny. And there's really good sarcasm that is hilarious. And it's genuinely funny. And that makes it hard because there's some really good complainers out there that are really good at complaining and being sarcastic. And so it's kind of hard to not do that. And if that becomes your nature and if that's what you get attention for, it's also hard to change that. So, like, let's just be real. Complaining is sometimes funny, and it can be very sarcastically funny. Number 5, we have raised the standard of living in every area of life. And so we have too many good things. At this point, we can complain about something that's not up to a really high standard that someone might have not complained about years ago. We complain about when the air conditioner is broken. Well, people back when just didn't worry about that. They were just used to it being hot, and so they didn't complain when it was even hotter because they weren't used to an air conditioning. And so by raising the standard, we make it easier to complain about things that aren't at that standard. Not saying it's necessarily bad, it's just part of life. Instead of making us more grateful, the standard of living has shown us that everything can be better. And so when something isn't better, we're apt to complain and point it out. And by having so many options and so many conveniences and so many modern parts of life, we just don't stretch our muscle to look for good. I can look around this room and I can think of all the stuff that it doesn't have. Or I can look around this room and look for the good. But since there's already so much good, it's hard to look for the good in places where there's not a lot of good. Our looking for good muscle really isn't getting to work a lot of times. And finally, number 6, if you're looking for yellow cars, you're going to see a lot more yellow cars. There's a game I used to play while in a truck driving with 2 other people, and there's a long road trip, and you just will be on the lookout for yellow cars. And when you saw a yellow car, you'd say it and say the magic word, you would add to your points, and you would be in the lead. And so everyone's just eyes peeled looking for yellow cars. And when you're looking for yellow cars, you're going to see yellow cars. You'll find what you're looking for. And when you look for problems and you're used to looking for problems, you're going to find what you're looking for. If you're looking for good stuff, you'll find what you're looking for. And if you're looking for something to complain about, you will find what you're looking for. So, how do you fight this complaining? How do you fight cynicism? If it's so easy, if there's 6 good reasons I can think of pretty much off the top of my head, while it's easy to complain, and you can probably think of some more, please put them in the comments. What do you do? How do you stop cynicism and stop complaining? Well, the key that I think is correct is you can't just stop it. If you just stop something and don't replace it with anything, you have something empty, and so complaining is going to seep back in. You have to replace it. You don't just stop complaining, you replace it with something even better. And that antidote, the thing you replace it with, is gratitude. Gratitude is the antidote to cynicism. I talked about a video about how to fix entitlement by visiting a poorer country, however you want to define it. And that'll teach you some gratitude for a little bit. But some other ways is you can just focus on gratitude. For me, it's a gratitude wall. For me, it's prayer in the morning by realizing that I'm grateful to be alive and grateful for all the blessings that God has given me. So I focus on gratitude. There's a couple other things. One is just saying it out loud. Sometimes you may think, wow, it's great that we have this nice light here. It's great that I get to use this camera, or it's great that I have these books to read, or whatever number of things. And sometimes we don't say it out loud. And so if you're around people, I'd challenge you to just say something out loud. Wow, I really like this weather. Wow, I really like that blue shirt. Isn't it amazing that we get food and we can choose what option we want? We aren't eating, moldy rice. Isn't that great? Wow. Isn't it great that I can flush the toilet and the toilet paper goes down with it and I didn't just clog the toilet? Isn't that great? And there's a way to go about it. But in general, if you just say it out loud, it's a great practice. And the last one, I haven't used this one much, but if you are in a situation and you're just looking to complain, see if you can list out 12 reasons that it's terrible, and then see if you can list out 3 reasons that it's good. And it's a little bit of a psychological thing, but if you can find 12 reasons, 12 legitimate reasons, you're doing pretty good. Most of the time you'll get to about 7 or 8, maybe 9 or 10, and you kind of realize you're getting more and more petty, and you're like, now that I'm writing it down, it's kind of dumb. But then you write down the 3 good reasons, and you'll have to come up with 3. And it's a psychological trick of when you can't come up with enough to fit, you realize it's not as bad as it looks. And when you can easily come up with 3 and you want to do a whole lot more, you realize, oh, things are a lot better. So that's a trick you can try. May work, may not, but the focus has to be in the right place. And I believe you can't be grateful unless you have someone to be grateful to. So if you're trying to be grateful without following Jesus, then I think it's going to be kind of hard to be grateful. But there are a couple tricks and tips to try and be grateful, because you can't just stop complaining because it's so easy to complain. No. You have to replace complaining with gratitude.